I agree with that.
I speak at conferences about the new children, and they have panels where the children tell themselves what's going on, to tell what they're experiencing. The reason why they're considered disruptive is because they're bored. They come in, they learn things very fast, they know more than you think they know, and yet they're treated like children, like they don't know. Because they said, in a class, the teacher will ask them the answer to a question, and they'll tell them the answer to the question, and they'll say, how did you find that answer, especially in math? They say, I know it. That's not good enough for the teacher.
Sure.
And so a lot of these people just know the information. And then they say it gets so boring because the teachers have repeating. They said, I got it the first time, but yet they keep going over and over with the class. So that's why they get disruptive. They're bored.
Sure.
So they said, the ones I work with on the other side, they say the best thing you can do with these new children is to give them challenges. Something to do away from the other classroom. Well, even if they're in the room. They said even if you give them something to tear apart and put back together again, it's giving them something to do with their mind. They're just sitting there waiting for the rest of the class to catch up with them.
Sure. Probably learning by rote is not interesting to them whatsoever.
It's not, because they learn so fast.
So you've got three waves coming to the planet.
In all the time.
I understand.
Yeah.
You've got three waves coming to the planet to help raise the frequency so that we can go through what, now I don't know how you refer to it. I know that you talked about what is in essence sort of a second Earth that's being created.
The new Earth.
And this is also something that Laura Knight Judzik, who I also interviewed, talks about. And she talks about a wave that's coming, or we're entering.
It's already here.
Okay.
We're already in the middle of it.
Yes.
It started about 2003 is when it became more obvious.
Okay.
Does she talk about the two Earths separate?
Yes. Well, in essence, going into 4D, the fourth dimension.
It's fifth dimension.
Fifth dimension.
Yeah, we
okay,
skipped fourth dimension. Fourth dimension is time.
Okay. And so you believe that the Earth is going into fifth dimension?
It's already going.
Okay. And that's the information you're getting?
Yes, but it's not the Earth.
Mm-hmm.
It's separating into two Earths.
Okay.
That's why I didn't know if she talked about that.
Well, not specifically calling it two Earths, but the idea is that
the new Earth.
That one group of people will stay behind and not, in essence, evolve at this time and move on to the next dimension.
That's what's called the old Earth.
Mm-hmm.
They said they will stay with what they created. Mm-hmm. And that's all the turmoil and the violence and the wars and the catastrophes that are going on. That's the old Earth.
Okay. And then the frequency that's being raised, how do they describe the new Earth being created, then the people going to the new Earth?
It's beautiful. It's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
It's like paradise.
Okay.
When we go, they say when you go, step through and don't look back. You don't want to see what's happening with the rest. But it has to do with raising the vibrations and frequencies. Now the planet, you must remember, is a living being. Mm-hmm. It is evolving. It is doing its own thing. Mm-hmm. So as it evolves, it is changing its vibration and frequency to move. It doesn't care if the rest of the world goes with it. It doesn't care if the human race goes with it. We're like fleas on a dog anyway. It just as soon get rid of us. So,
but isn't it true there are some people are already going into this other Earth? No?
No.
This is not what you're hearing?
No.
All right.
Not until your frequency and vibration is correct.
Uh-huh. And are you not hearing that, in other words, that this second Earth has been already prepared?
That's something different, totally. In the custodians, we talk about the ETs have prepared another planet. That's a separate thing.
I see.
The other planet that's being prepared is in case we were stupid enough to destroy the world. The human race must not perish. And they would take some there to keep the human race going. And a lot of these are the cloning that's been going on to keep the race going.
Okay.
That's a different thing. They said you can call it what you want when you get there. It's like a new Eden. That's another planet that's being prepared. They said it'll be similar to Earth, but not exactly the same.
Okay, and this new Earth that you're talking about is another concept.
This is the vibrations of this Earth moving into another dimension.
Okay, so
it's
that's
not a totally separate one.
We're talking about, in essence, two dimensions, both people residing on one dimension and the other dimension, and that they're actually occupying in perhaps the same space.
You mean the two Earths? No, because once they separate, they can't occupy the same space.
Okay.
Now they are. That's why people can't go yet, because it's not ready. The vibrations haven't completed.
Okay, so you're talking about a group change.
But till the vibration and frequencies match, it can't happen. That's why it's happening gradually. They said the human body is going to go. Our frequencies and vibrations have to raise to match those of the planet as you go. To change the vibration of the human body that quickly would destroy the human body. It couldn't handle it. So it's been doing it gradually. This started about 2003, so it began to be obvious something was going on. A gradual progression, and they will change the vibrations and frequencies up a little notch until you adapt to that. This can take several months, and there will be definite physical symptoms as this occurs. Then it will even out, and then it will go up another notch. So it's a gradual process. But now it seems like it's not affecting the human body as much because we're gradually adapting to it. The older people are having the hardest time adjusting. The young ones are coming in already adjusted. It's the ones in the middle that are having trouble. But those that can't handle the change will just leave the planet.
Okay.
They'll make a transition, they'll die, in other words. But they said that's okay. That's why so many are leaving all at once. It's all right to do that because they are not ready to handle the vibrations and the frequencies. But as the body adapts, as you move through this, then we will all move together. That's when the separation occurs, when it reaches that point.
And have they given you a year or a time for that?
No, one thing I keep asking them questions about it, they say, we can't answer all your questions because we don't know. This is the first time in the history of the universe this has ever happened. So we don't really know what's going to happen. So they said, it's the biggest show on Earth. All the ETs, everyone is watching. They want to see if we can pull it off. But let me give an example that, I don't know if you know Annie Kirkwood. She wrote Mary's Message to the World. And we used to do panels together. She had a vision that I think really describes it the best way. Because it's very hard to understand the concept of things splitting and becoming two. But it's evolution is what it is. She saw the Earth. And then she saw it begin to pull apart like a cell does when it divides. And as it began to pull apart, she saw it break apart into two Earths. One was the new and one was the old. And over here, she heard them saying, we did it, we did it, we did it. And over here, it was like, poor thing, she died believing all that. So the one will not be aware of the other ones. It's like in the Bible, in the book of Revelations, when they talk about the new heaven and the new earth, one is left and one is taken. It's that concept.
I understand. Okay.
So the old earth are the negativity, the ones who are steeped in negativity and karma. Their vibrations cannot change fast enough for them to go. But they said it's okay. They're where they're supposed to be. But as our vibrations move with the earth, when it separates is when it comes apart. But we're coming to that time, but it can't be sudden. Now 2012 is what they're always talking about. They said that date is not definite. That is when it's like a culmination, when the energy reaches a culmination like a plateau. And at that time, if the energy increases, it will force the earth to move into the other one. But it doesn't mean that is the end of it. It's definitely not the end of the earth. It's the end of civilization as we know it. You'll begin to notice some big changes. But they said, it won't happen all of a sudden. It'll be subtle.
Mm-hmm.
You begin to say, things look a little different. Things don't feel the same anymore as they did on the other part. But as the two moves apart, but that is what happens between the two. So it's a little hard to understand. There is a definite separation. And when I was telling that in a lecture, this one man came up to me afterwards and he said, now I'm a businessman. I've never had this happen to me before. But I've got to tell you what happened when I listened to you describe this vision. He said, all of a sudden the auditorium disappeared. I was out in space and I saw it just exactly the way you said. So he said, I'm going to go home and make a computer drawing of what you said, and I'll send it to you. Just don't tell anyone where you got it. And I put it in my book. We have the color one at home.
Okay.
And the new Earth is slightly over the old Earth, and it's glowing, where the old Earth is different. And it's hard for people to get the concept of the idea, but they're definitely two separate things.
So this information comes to you from a variety of the clients that you deal with, isn't that right?
With thousands and thousands of people.
And each time they are talking about this process, isn't that right? I mean,
When it comes out in the therapy that I
testimony.
work, because I ask so many questions. And I think it has more validity when I get the same information coming from many people that have no idea what I'm looking for.
Okay.
So I ask a little more questions each time to try to fill in the blanks.
Yes.
But it comes through many, many people. A piece here and a piece there, and then I have to put it all together like a puzzle. But, so I keep wanting to clarify it. I want more information to find out. But they said it's never happened before. We don't know what's going to happen. But you may tell some of the symptoms of the body that the
Sure.
people are experiencing.
Okay.
Because even the client I just had, they were saying, don't worry about these symptoms. They're normal. But people go running to the doctors. And when they start, people think they're getting ill. But it only lasts for a few days or so, and then it'll even off. Okay, some of the symptoms they've experienced is high blood pressure, heart palpitations. That's a big one because they think they're having a heart attack. But it's the irregular beating of the heart. Also, depression, dizziness, headaches, body aches and pains. I think those are most of them, but they sometimes go from one to the other. They